It comes ready to drink, free of charge and on demand. It's always the perfect temperature. It allows a mother to supply everything needed for growth and development. But for some mothers, the reality of breastfeeding can be harder than expected. Despite advice given by the World Health Organization that breast is best, the UK has one of the lowest rates of breastfeeding in Europe. Research shows that after 6 months, only 34% of women continue to breastfeed, and at 12 months, only 0.5%. So if breast really is best, why is the statistic so low? We investigated whether mothers are given enough education on breastfeeding before birth. On websites such as Facebook, there are several groups with thousands of women dedicated to the sharing of breast milk. Mothers with an undersupply of breast milk can post looking for donations from mothers who are overproducing milk. We spoke to Rebecca to find out why so many mums are having to give up on breastfeeding and resort to other means of feeding their baby.
I think there's a lack of education surrounding postnatal care and education, in that, there's not enough people there to help you, there's not enough information available to you at hand, and there's not enough information readily available for professionals to help you. Someone that's not trained, perhaps, like a midwife, can't just go and sort of pick up a booklet and look through it, and that should be there for them. It's definitely an institutionalised thing rather than any one person's fault.
Do you know anyone else who had a similar experience to you?
I know a lot of people that gave up breastfeeding because they had difficulties and they didn't have the support. It's difficult, it's really hard, and if you don't have the support there, you don't have someone that's knowledgeable, you're not going to make it through.
While some mothers are resorting to Facebook groups, the UK currently has 16 milk banks throughout the country, which provide donor milk to NHS hospitals. But bank-donated milk is only available to premature babies and babies with medical issues, and therefore not available to mothers like Rebecca. Gillian Weaver, co-founder of the Hearts Milk Bank, told us that the supply milk banks have wouldn't be enough to help every mother struggling with breastfeeding. She believes that the way to help mums breastfeed successfully is by providing practical help, managing their expectations, and giving accurate information.
So in terms of educating new mothers about feeding choices and about how to establish breastfeeding, I think we need to go way back and start with those mothers when they're younger children. And I know that something that's really close to our heart here at the Hearts Milk Bank is that schools should introduce much more in the way of information and teaching and opportunities for children to learn about breastfeeding.
But not all mothers feel under-informed about breastfeeding. Kyle, mother to 6-month-old Layla, lives in Kingston. She was given breastfeeding advice from the NHS before Layla was born, which she feels may have helped her breast milk production. Kyle is now a breast milk donor on Facebook and helps other mums by donating her excess milk.
I think my experience with breastfeeding was I was really, really lucky, I was really fortunate. The NHS people that I saw suggested this thing called colostrum harvesting, which is where you basically try and express your very first bit of milk when before your baby's born, so when they're 37 weeks. Now I think because I did that, I was just so lucky with breastfeeding, so it came really naturally. I had loads, or I actually still had too much, which is a really good problem to have.
So who should take responsibility for this lack of breastfeeding education? We decided to look on the NHS website and found its information page on breastfeeding was vague. We contacted NHS England and the Department of Education about their stance on the lack of information available to mothers, but neither responded to us. A quick Google search told us that antenatal breastfeeding courses are available. We met with Lauren, who had her first child 4 months ago and uses donor milk from a mum on Facebook. Lauren found a private breastfeeding course to help prepare her, but she felt this still didn't teach her enough.
I did an NCT course, so we did a whole session on breastfeeding, but I just feel that it wasn't really enough, it wasn't practical. You think it would be really simple, you think it would come naturally, but a lot of the time it doesn't. Especially, it depends on the baby. Some babies latch and do it really easily and others don't. So yeah, I saw a breastfeeding counsellor to try and help as well. But yeah, I would say I definitely didn't feel like I knew enough about it at all.
So how do you think this could be improved?
I think actually you need that education before you give birth, because there's just so much going on after birth. You can't really then start reading a book about things or, you know, learning something new when your head's already completely taken up by your baby. So I think that element is important as well.
Whilst Lauren echoed the need for more information, lots of organisations claim that they are already helping educate and support mums with breastfeeding. The Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health aims to improve the national distribution of information about breastfeeding.
We've been working on a number of strands to really try and improve the breastfeeding rate in the UK. So firstly, it's about consistency of messaging, so working with other healthcare professionals, so that's health visitors, midwives, nurses, GPs, paediatricians, to make sure that the messages that they're communicating about breastfeeding are accurate and also consistent, so that's important. I think local support is absolutely vital, and making sure it's not patchy, because currently it is. The other thing which we're very keen to push is about educating children from an early age. Again, this goes into the kind of social stigma issue. So we, as you probably know, the PSHE curriculum is being revised at the moment, and so we're lobbying hard to get breastfeeding discussions as part of that curriculum.
We also contacted Public Health England, who told us,
Public Health England is working at national and local levels to support women. This includes our Start for Life website, which has a range of advice and resources that can help mothers continue breastfeeding.
Throughout this investigation, we've spoken to several mothers who have felt overwhelmed by breastfeeding and disappointed by the information not being available to them when trying to breastfeed. It also seems that the information that is available is vague, not practical enough, and unhelpful, as it doesn't apply to every nursing baby. The problem is not just about the need for greater education surrounding breastfeeding, but also the need for greater accessibility to the information so that mothers aren't left feeling failed, and so that their babies can achieve the best possible start in life.